Hello there, thanks for watching. We hope you like this channel. We hope you enjoy getting a waiver video on Monday evening before lots of other potential waiver stuff is posted. And we hope you like getting to see action from the players that you are thinking about adding. If you do enjoy these things, we encourage you, please consider subscribing to this channel. Please consider supporting the sponsors. Let's keep the channel going. Hey there, I'm Chris, and as always, we record this video before the Monday night game, so you can consider this kind of a preliminary waiver list that will get you most of the way there. But the way to make sure you're getting the most updated waiver stuff from me is to listen to my podcast on Tuesday. That's when I will cement the final waiver order. It's mostly going to be these guys, right? But we'll see. Maybe we get some Vikings and Bears in the mix as well. Let's start this show by looking at some of the players who you might be adding in some shallower leagues. Okay, so what you see here is the Yahoo ownership percentage of these players as of our recording this video, and I'll get to Damien Harris in a second. Realize that if you're adding Gallman, the Giants are off in Week 11, so you'll be adding with the hope that Devontae Freeman stays on IR beyond Week 12. And I could see trying Nyheim Hines after his big effort last Thursday. I also don't necessarily think the Colts came into that game thinking he was definitely going to be their top running back, and nothing they've done this year makes me think that they're about to name one guy as the man for the rest of the year. Jakobi Meyers plays in a bad passing offense, but he's practically the only one who gets targets right now, so I don't hate adding him. And Corey Davis, not consistent, but certainly has weekly upside. Damien Harris is clearly to the point where he's got to be in a lot of leagues an every week fantasy starter until further notice. You never put depth chart shenanigans past the Patriots, but you also see a power running game working like this, and you wonder why they would change a thing. Of course, what I really want you to see here is nobody is touching Damien Harris. The Ravens were banged up on the defensive line, but man, look at those alleys. Harris had so many carries Sunday night where he could just get up to speed without a single defender even laying a glove on him, which you may have heard makes being a running back easier. Good vision to see the lanes, I guess, except who wouldn't see these lanes? New England's offensive line was dominant, and they get a dominate-able Texans matchup in Week 11. On this one, I mean, good speed to get to the outside by Harris, but really, that is a convoy of like 4 blockers. I'm happy that Harris performed well. I don't think much of it was something that a different running back couldn't do, which is kind of why I liken Harris to Sony Michel, who, I mean, if there's a worry, it's that Michel could come back in Week 11, but I'm still adding Harris in a shallow league. But here's an example of why I say Harris is a better Sony Michel. Okay, yes, another play where Harris is basically untouched getting through the line of scrimmage, but if we show the replay, you'll see once he gets through that initial defense, there's some actual burst at the second level. We can see it because the safety has to kind of fling himself wildly because he's taken a bad angle. It's annoying that Harris gets pulled on the goal line. Cam Newton's really the touchdown-making running back there. Sony Michel could return. Rex Burkhead is there. James White is there. But Harris is definitely worth owning in all leagues. Okay, we'll get to more waiver ads in a second. Let's thank today's sponsor. It's Gravity Blankets. This is my Gravity Blanket. I love it. It's a fantastic holiday gift idea. Give the gift of better sleep at gravityblankets.com. If you struggle with sleep, if you know someone who does, if you have stress after a long day, if you have problems with insomnia, Gravity Blanket is the only weighted blanket brand that's been through actual trials and actually works to help people sleep better. They ran a program with a sleep institute and found people got deeper and more restful sleep, and 86% of customers would recommend it to a friend. I took a nap under this blanket I have here. Just got it a few days ago. Makes sense why people love it. It's like being swaddled as an adult. It's a physical thing. It gets your key pressure points related to relaxation and mood. Plus, they just introduced the world's first weighted robe, which I also have, which is relaxing to wear. Give the gift of better sleep and save up to 20% all holiday season at gravityblankets.com when you use the promo code HarrisTube. Okay, let's proceed with the rest of the conversation for the Week 11 waiver wire. I will count down my deeper league ads from 5 through 1. At number 5, I'll get us started with Rams rookie running back Cam Akers. Akers surprisingly started on Sunday, and honestly, he wasn't great, but start with something okay. Like, this is only a 6-yard gain, but if we go back and watch it from the end zone view, we'll see this is a power lead with a wideout blocking out in front, and the assigned hole is plugged up by number 56 there, Jordan Brooks. And I'm not calling it like an all-world move, but at least Akers has enough giddy up to bounce one hole outside. Brooks does wind up running him down, but we've seen in previous weeks that there's a little bit of oomph there when Cam Akers, just as an athlete, he's got some agility and some oomph to him. On this one, you can see an outside zone run. This is kind of the bread and butter of the Rams running offense, and Akers knows that he has to be patient. I like that. You know, something that he has not always shown as a rookie has been patience. Nothing really develops on this run, but I'm glad he's looking for it. But I don't think he's quite there yet. And I mean, I see a play like this one, and for sure, anyone can get stuffed inside the 5. But if we take it back to the press box angle and we freeze it right here, if this were Dalvin Cook, it's a touchdown, right? Like number 11 there, Josh Reynolds, is out front to block. They've got the edge. And Akers doesn't really accelerate, and he doesn't really cut. And I don't know what happens. I don't know why exactly. It's not all that impressive. I think he's an impressive athlete. Maybe he just didn't see this. But again, there's ability there. I don't like 1-yard losses, but I do like seeing a back who can make the first man miss. Not all backs can do that, and Akers does it here with a spin move, and the second guy gets him. That's not his fault. I think what we learned on Sunday is that Akers started, right? And that he might be a factor going forward, but the other running backs there were more successful on the goal line, and in the end, Akers only got 18 snaps. My putting him at number 5 on the waiver ranks, I like adding him. Let's see what happens. Maybe the workload tilts more in his favor. We're probably not quite ready to start him yet based on what he's shown. At number 4 on the list will be my highest rated wide receiver. And it's a Colts wide receiver, but it's rookie Michael Pittman, who's seen more usage since he returned from injury. Let's characterize what it has looked like. Pittman is young, and we know he's inexperienced, and he's not out there doing complicated stuff. The Colts want the ball in his hands to see if he can do damage with his 6'4", 223. So he's getting looks right now when a corner is playing off or when it's just flat out zone, and he can kind of run his pattern into air. And that's okay. That doesn't take away from Pittman's best night as a pro on Thursday. But the reason we watch film is to try and understand whether a performance is replicable, whether, for instance, a defense deciding to play tight man coverage against him would neutralize him. And I can't tell you that for sure. I like this stuff. But for instance, watch this play when number 21 Malcolm Butler gets up in Pittman's face. Now this is an incompletion mostly because Phillip Rivers gets pressure, but also Pittman doesn't really have an answer, right? He doesn't really cut hard. He doesn't really have a sharp change of direction yet. And that's okay. To some extent, you're probably like, Harris, I don't care. Here's Michael Pittman running the underneath component of a route combo where the defensive back has to choose one guy and he chooses the other guy and Pittman's wide open. And if he's getting those targets, who cares? And to a degree, I think that's fair. And let's also dispel comparisons I might have made to Kelvin Benjamin in this year's Almanac, who did not get very many reverses run for him. Pittman is probably not a total blazer, but at his size, he moves well enough. The concern I have, first of all, is what makes us think the Colts are suddenly going to settle for one receiver. They haven't done it all year. And also receivers who can only catch passes when DBs give them buffers are limited. And it's kind of what we showed you on the channel with Corey Davis a couple of weeks ago. It can work out. The game flow and the defense can dictate that the guy plays well. They could also get game flowed or man coveraged out of use as well. Pittman's an ad. I just don't want to go crazy with him, but I think he's an ad. Okay, at number 3, all right, let's eat a W. It's Jameis Winston. I don't love it either. But in the second half, in lieu of an injured Drew Brees, Winston did enough of this stuff, keeping the trains running on time. And situationally, you don't mind maybe, the best team in the NFC, the Saints, facing the Falcons in Week 12. Man, today's waiver wire feels like a bunch of guys I'm not that sold on. I'm fine with them. But just how about a little primer, a little reminder of why Jameis is not a starting quarterback in the league anymore? A seemingly endless red zone drive beginning of the fourth quarter. On this play, the Saints try play action. Jameis does not sell the fake. The linebackers never bite. He gets pressure. Probably it's smart that he doesn't try to get it to Emmanuel Sanders here. Next play, it's a little pivot route to Emmanuel Sanders. If we freeze it right as Sanders breaks his route, what are you doing? Throw the ball. I mean, he might not score, but there's really no one else to throw the ball to. And instead he pulls it down and there's nowhere to go. He takes a sack. But the Saints get a face mask, new set of downs. Let's throw it to Michael Thomas. Good plan. No, let's throw it to Michael Thomas. And this one, I don't really know what that throw is even supposed to be. Also, vaguely, that counts as a Michael Thomas target. That's almost actually insulting. It's only vaguely his way. I know, I've just been harsh. I'm not a big Jameis fan. And you can also believe that Taysom Hill probably will get a bunch of snaps at quarterback if Drew Brees misses week 11 with injury.
Hey everybody, Dave Piper here with a producer's note. Since Chris recorded this, Drew Brees has been ruled out. We're not sure on the timetable, but he has multiple rib fractures on both sides of his chest and a collapsed lung on the right side, so he'll be out for some time.
But the fact is that the starting quarterback for the Saints against Atlanta deserves probably a top 15 rank. So for a week, if you're desperate, you're forewarned. Of course, you know there's a floor when it comes to Jameis, but you also know, I have to admit it, of course he also has a high ceiling. Okay, at number 2, we're going back to Kalen Ballage. We've now had back-to-back weeks where Ballage has looked like the Chargers' best running back, and the workload has been tilted in his favor as the games have worn on. It would be hard to look at this backfield in Week 11 against the Jets and not be real tempted by Ballage. Okay, but let's go just beyond situation. I love this from Ballage. If they would convince him to do this more, he'd be better. He'd probably still be playing in Miami or in New York. Very direct. Like, these are the kinds of plays Ballage was meant for. Run fast because you're fast, be big because you're big, and have the mentality that you want to crush people at the end of a run. But part of the deal with Kalen Ballage is you'll see him cutting against air, jumping and landing with 2 feet when he doesn't need to. This is a 10-yard gain, that's fine. But couldn't it have been more if at the handoff he didn't leap into the air? He's slowing himself down when he does stuff like this. Like, okay, it's a stylistic thing. He watched a lot of Le'Veon Bell highlights from 5 years ago, and I can't say it doesn't sometimes serve him well. You can make an argument this hole that gets him 7 yards doesn't develop until he pauses. But to me, it doesn't really scan as patience. It's more like a nervous tick. And in a case like this, where the entire left side is open to him, you have to believe if he just ran, like Damien Harris earlier, if he just ran, he would have a bigger gain. And once you see it once, you can't unsee it when Ballage runs. The line is giving him push. He's being physical eventually. I just want him to go, which I think it probably means he's not a long-term solution in that backfield, but short-term, you can add him. At number 1, I'll put Salvon Ahmed, the Dolphins running back, who, we don't really know what the Dolphins will have available to them at running back. Maybe Matt Breida gets healthy. Maybe Myles Gaskin comes off IR in a couple more weeks. But maybe not. And Ahmed got 44 snaps on Sunday, basically was the only game in town for the Miami backfield. Immediately on a well-blocked play like this, I hope this feels like a breath of fresh air to you after watching Ballage. Just watch a running back who just makes one cut and gets going. And I'm not meaning to trash Ballage, but when you see how much further ahead you are on a run, when you just go, you know why we're looking for this style. Once again, you can see that this winds up being a giant hole to Ahmed's left, but that is a joystick-style shift of his body weight without losing momentum. I love Le'Veon Bell of 2015 too, but you have to have elite acceleration after you stop. Otherwise, I will take this. We are not selling you Ahmed as a world beater. He's undersized. He's a try-hard guy. He's quick. He reminds me a lot of the film that we did on Myles Gaskin earlier in the season. He's not going to solve every problem that Miami has or that your fantasy team has, but I also don't think he's going to disappear. Smaller guy, here was his touchdown after a blocked punt on Sunday. Smaller guys sometimes find success by just squeezing into a small space. And, sometimes in short yardage, like this 3rd and 1, if it's not there, he's not going to be able to make the hole himself. Listed at 5'11", 197. He's not teeny, right? He's Gaskin-sized. There might be some touchdown theft. There might be other guys returning to the lineup. But in a week where nobody on the waiver wire is perfect, I'm okay. I would spend a little bit for Ahmed. I'm done doubting the value of the slightly undersized Dolphins running back with the big workload. That's what we did for 6 weeks for the other guy, and we'll see if the other guy's back, right? It seems like we've been waiting for someone to steal the job from these Dolphins running backs for basically 3 months. There are some other receivers we could consider. Jalen Reagor starting to look like he's a thing. Maybe Marquez Valdes-Scantling, although maybe also Allen Lazard, because Lazard might finally come back against the Colts this week as well. And LaMichael Pirine, we're hearing that the Jets are planning on committing to him. I just don't know how much value that role has, but in a deeper league, you could also be adding Pirine. So this hopefully gets you most of the way to your waiver wire for Week 11, but as I like to remind you, we are recording this before the Monday night game, so listen to the podcast, go to harrisfootball.com, and Tuesday we will post a podcast in which most of these names will recur, but we might get some reordering or some new names as well. It's wonderful if you subscribe to the channel. It's wonderful. Try out a Gravity Blanket. They really are very cool, and supporting the sponsors helps a lot. Mostly, though, thank you very much for watching. Thanks so much for watching. Please, please, please smash that like button, write a comment, tell us who else you'd like to see us review film on, and of course, best of all, please subscribe to our channel and then click that little bell above the subscribe button and you'll be notified whenever we post a new video.